do you guys like the concept of being able to white line and go to the bottom? Or do you think that you shouldn't be able to do that? Would you rather just see somebody have to go in and have to get this car slowed down to pass you and give you the opportunity to just cross them over and say race back up the hill into Manmaker? If you haven't been to Sonoma, that's out of the last corner, up the hill into the last corner, leading onto the front straightaway. I just kind of want to talk to you guys on racecraft about this, and how do you guys see, how do you guys think that you want to be raced versus how do you think you want to see the next generation lead up? Because do you guys want to be my age and see kids that are your age that are professionals? Because chances are somebody in your age group is going to be a professional. Okay, 3 out of the 5 kids that I raced with growing up with are IndyCar, sports car drivers, some sort of professional race car drivers, right? So chances are you're going to get that opportunity. So I just kind of want to know your guys' opinion on what do you want to see? Like, how do you want to see this evolving for the next generation?
I think that's definitely a great question, and it definitely is thought provoking for sure. So it's kind of to go off the should you defend? Is that okay? I guess is kind of the way to go with that. Is like I think defending is absolutely a crucial part of racing. I think if you're the fastest guy out there, but you can't pass, I don't think it means anything. Versus if you're a guy who doesn't have that much speed, but he can really work a race and has strategy, I think that's a huge play. It's much harder to do that than just being quick, but having the mindset and the skills to be able to get around people, and then even though you're slower, keep them behind you is a huge skill, and not everybody has that, and it's not just given to you. It's something you have to learn. So I 100% think defending is a big part of racing, and I think it needs to remain in racing. But then again, I think there's times where it can go too far. So it's kind of defining that line, I guess.
All right, that's fair. That's absolutely fair, and I agree. It's an art to defend and still go fast and make lap time is an art. And go ahead, Hendrik or Hank. I'll let you go ahead and answer that in your own words.
I agree with Jameson as well. I think knowing how to really race and pass and keep people behind you is a really big part of racing, and is a crucial part to know to actually, get far. I'll put it like that.
How do you guys think that the kids nowadays would fare with, like, if we did inverts? Do you guys think you guys would be okay if we did like an invert? Like, say, I don't know if you guys are from the days of us. Okay, when we used to show up to the races when I was your guys' age and we ran at our home club, we didn't have transponders. We didn't have qualifying even. Literally, you'd show up, everybody would be in line for registration. There was one poor lady like Ashley filling out all these forms, and every time you fill the form, you put your hand into a bucket and you pulled out this little tab, and it had a number on it between 0 and 100, and she would write your number on your text sheet. Right? And then they took and they sorted those numbers for after the first 2 heat races. They sorted those numbers, and that's how you started the first round of heats. Right? And then literally, like, if you drew a 1, you would start pole for the first heat race, and if you drew 100, you would start last for the first heat race. Wherever you started in the first heat race was a complete invert for the second heat race, and that set your grid for the final. And for me, it taught kids how to pass. It taught me how to pass, exactly. And I've heard other people's defense. It taught you how to be passed. Mm-hmm. I think that's a bigger thing nowadays, right? I think it's not so much that people don't know how to pass, in my opinion. I think it's more people don't understand how to be passed and when to essentially give up and understand that you've been passed. We've all been put in that situation as a racer, right? Jameson, Hank, Jason. I mean, Ashley, you don't drive as much, but you've all been put in that situation where somebody gets under you and they own the apex and they're going to own the exit, and you have to decide if you want to try to hang out there and put yourself in that situation or not. And I think that's more the lost art, not so much racecraft and respect, right? I mean,
I'm going to be the old guy in the room because I have a hard time watching. I have a hard time announcing. I have a hard time enjoying white line racing. And I've talked to a couple of very respected people in the industry about it. And we could do devil's advocate. I hate it. I don't even think it's racing. It's the first guy out front, drive around. You can't touch him because of the pushback bumper. I hate white line racing. I do acknowledge it does require a certain amount of skill to do it as well. I mean, it's still racing, but I love the crossovers. I love, a little bit of, I don't want. Are you guys going to hint on the whole Musgrave bailiff thing or no?
I mean, we can. I mean, we
I
talked.
I really don't want
a little bit of
so overplayed.
yeah. I don't want to just throw out their names or anything, but I did hint to it last week a little bit.
Okay, I mean, to me, I watched it and it's just like, to me that was hard racing. Billy didn't get blasted out of the way. To me, it almost looked like he parked it a little bit more than Bailiff, being kind of the rookie in the class, was expecting. But it didn't shake his head back or anything else. It's like, okay. But to me, that's probably about the limit of being rough. And I also don't like the racing or any sport where the idea is you put it in the official's hands. To me, that's no longer a sport. It's like, I can go blast somebody off the track. Maybe they won't see me. If they do, I'll go plead my case and let the official decide. I don't really care for that type of racing either.
Do you guys have an opinion before I respond? I'll give you guys the floor. Either one of you guys, Jameson, go ahead. You're shaking your head like you want to say something.
Yeah, I absolutely do have an opinion on that. So I think to kind of go off I think, Jason, you mentioned there, holding the outside and some of that stuff. I don't think that you should be allowed to just push someone off if they're on the outside. That's not something that I stand for in racing. I think you should be able to hold an outside move. And I think a lot of people, look at Formula One as the pinnacle of motorsports, and whenever they see, if you're ahead at the apex, that means you get to push the guy off the track. I think that stems the whole way down in motorsport because it's the pinnacle. Anybody else who watches it or views it or drives below is going to. That's an example. That's set as an example whether they want it to be or not. So I think karting has definitely evolved now into like a if you're on the outside, you just get pushed off. I'm 100% not for it, but I have to race people that way. If you go to a national event and you are letting people hang around your outside, you're not going to have a good race. You're just not, and that's not how the rules state. So if somebody tries to hold you outside at a national or bigger event, or even at Sonoma, you have to put them in the dirt. It's kind of how it runs. You don't give them room. I don't think it's how it should be, but it's how the rules are written, and it's how everybody else plays. And if you don't play by everybody else's rules, then you're not going to finish well.
If you're on the outside, you're going in the dirt.
And Hank?
I couldn't have said it better than Jameson.
So you agree? You think that if you get to the inside of somebody and they want to hang around the outside of you, that essentially you're not required to leave them. Now I'm going to play devil's advocate to both of your guys' opinion here because this is a discussion. So you're saying that you're not required to leave them racing room on the exit of the corner, right? So at what point, if you put yourself on the outside and somebody gets to the inside of you, let's just say you go down into Buttonwillow turn 1. We've all driven at Buttonwillow, and somebody comes to your inside and you want to just hang on the outside of them to try to drag race them up to the last corner and at least try to push them down to kill their run off into the bulls. Right? Because you're not just thinking as a racer. We all know we're not just thinking in the moment. We're all trying to think one corner ahead, right? So now somebody gets to your inside and automatically your brain goes, okay, he's there, but there's another, if I lift, I'm getting passed again when I go into the corner because chances are there's another person behind me, right? You race Briggs, you race KA. So chances are when one guy goes, another guy's going. So as a racer, right, you're going to naturally say, okay, I'm going to try to hang the outside on this guy And what you guys are telling me is now, if that guy decides he's going to hang the outside, you shouldn't be required to leave him any chance to race you. Is that how you want to be raced in the contrary position? Now go ahead and answer. Hank, go ahead.
I don't know as necessarily just put them straight into there. I believe give them some racing room, but not like enough to just let them repass you, but give them room to not have to exit the track.
Yeah. So not essentially drive them off the track, but not run them, but essentially leave them enough real estate where they have to essentially make a decision.
Yeah.
Fight for it.
Yeah. And do you feel that's the same way you would describe it, Jameson?
I mean, I would say I'm 100% on the side of I think it should be that way, and I think you should have to leave people room, and I think outside passes are a beautiful thing, and I think they can be executed very well. But the bottom line is at all these national events, nobody's treating anyone that way. So if you want to show up and be Mr. Nice Guy, good for you. You're not going to hurt anyone's feelings, but your people are still going to put you in the dirt. People are still going to rough you up. And it doesn't matter how you, at some like level at a club race, you know, you have that, oh, I remember that guy. He drives me clean. I'm going to respect him. Mm-hmm. At national events, chances are they don't even know your name. They don't know anything about you. You're just another person in their way, and they're going to race you the same. So I 100% am on the side of shouldn't be that way, but this is how it is. And if you're going to be the nice guy, you're not going to finish well.
Well said. Well said, Jameson. I mean, that's the truth. Well said. Go ahead, Jason. Come on. I see your hand up there.
Well, it's kind of it's racing, so it's not cut and dry, right? Every scenario is a little different. If I do agree that outside passes, and we had a lot of that racing at Rock Sonoma this weekend, of too wide going down into tic-tac-toe. I don't really recall many blatant, hey, you're off the track type maneuvers at all throughout the whole weekend. But I will say is if you're on the inside and the driver is not there on the outside, you should be able to utilize the track to your natural momentum. You shouldn't have to pinch off your momentum going, especially in the momentum classes like Briggs and Tag. Now, if there's somebody there and you don't need to pinch your momentum and you can go side by side, that's great racing. But it's also up to the person on the outside to realize I'm not in the best position here. I'm trying a pretty ballsy move that has a very low percentage of success. And that doesn't account for anyone flying over a corner on the inside and plowing somebody's side pod. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about the natural progression of, hey, this is a normal racing line. You want to stay out there, and now you're on the outside trying to pinch me down and scrub my momentum.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's good.
But if you're going to fly over a corner and then side pod somebody, there's probably going to be a pushback bumper penalty on my cart.
Yeah. All right. So now
all right, guys. So our original discussion was going to be about the flag etiquette. Do we want to hit that topic? I know we have a couple of questions in the comments we can go through as well.
Let's do the questions, and then I'm curious about the flag etiquette.
Yeah.
Okay, so first question we have, Jameson, have the tires felt different from Rock Vegas to now?
As in Levanto's, I'm guessing is the question, as that was the tire we tried at Sonoma and at Vegas. I was actually a bit confused with the tires this weekend at Sonoma. One of my sets barely needed to be balanced at all. It was pretty much set to go, only had a wheel weight or two. Versus one of my other sets had a lot of wheel weights on my front left, and we struggled with a lot of vibration and balancing the tires throughout the weekend. So that is definitely something that I noticed more than any other weekend. But in general, I'd say the tires felt pretty soft this weekend, felt grippy. We struggled, I'd say, a lot of the weekend with being over gripped, and so we kept having to pull grip out of it. But then you're getting to that point at the end of the day when the track falls off. Are you going to pull too much grip out and now you're too loose? So it's a sketchy line to be on. But yeah, I'd say tires were very grippy this weekend. Kind of hard to compare it to Vegas as you're in a parking lot versus a real racetrack, but yeah.
All right. We're gonna transition into okay, so Ridgely commented back. Noticed that as well. Okay, then we're gonna get Gage's comments. Have you seen improvement in yourselves in the past races? We'll give that to Hank and Jameson, and then Mike Dean's gonna start us off with the flag topic. So back to we'll do Gage's question for Hank and Jameson, and then we'll get into the flag topic. All right. Go ahead.
I'll answer for Jameson. I've been calling races for him for at least a year, right?
What was that, sorry?
I'm going to answer for you. I've probably called races for you for about a year, and I have definitely seen an improvement in your driving, your consistency. This weekend, you were a contender right there at the front.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I 100% feel the same way.
Okay. Can you say how seat time has helped your improvements?
So I have definitely seen seat time is a lot of it. I have seen a lot of improvements since I have also been racing at Prairie City Karting Racing Association. And over the last year, my skill level has gone up a whole notch because it's a lot more seat time there, a lot harder track than what I'm used to, and overall a lot more harder competition than what I'm used to.
All right. So we are going to transition into our original topic. Mike Dean's going to kick us off. So we are going to be talking about how understanding how the flags work and why that consistency is essential. But we're going to be breaking down a key moment that a few of us witnessed over the past weekend and discussing how it applies to racecraft and etiquette. Josh and I discussed this topic on the way home, and we both sort of have differing but the same opinions, like different answers, but we feel are the same. So let's get into it. Josh, you want to start us off with setting the scene, or
I think I'm going to set the scene since Hank kind of understands the scenario for the. I'm going to set the scene for Tucson because most of us know Tucson, most of our people on our panel, and it's one of our Challenge of the Americas tracks. So let's just say you're coming down the last straightaway at Tucson, coming to the checkered flag, okay, and entering the last set, which I believe would be turn 12 and 13, coming to the checkered would be the left, right, okay. There is an accident from the previous lap. Okay, there's waving yellow flags there. You are the leader, okay, coming down the back straightaway. You put your hand up, acknowledging the yellow flag, lift, break some sort of momentum, okay, pass the incident, resume racing at full throttle, and the two go-karts behind you did not. They came through there, never lifted, never cracked the throttle, and by the time you guys got to the start-finish line, they beat you. You finished second.
Yeah.
How do you work that, right? And the way the rule is written is when a yellow flag is displayed, okay, you can't pass until after you've passed the incident for which the yellow flag is being displayed. And that is exactly what this individual did. He waited until after he passed the incident and then pulled down and passed them. The problem I have is the leader clearly put his hand up and acknowledged the waving yellow flag in the incident, and the other two cars didn't. Is that something in etiquette, or is that something in acknowledgement of flags? And I'm going to let Hank start, and then we're just going to go down. We'll go with Jameson, and then following up with Jason.
I think it's more of an acknowledgement of flags, because if the person in first acknowledged it, clearly put their hand up and let go of the throttle for a second before resuming, and the past two didn't, it's unfair, and it's just ignoring the flag essentially.
Okay.
That was, yep.
Jameson?
Yeah, it's a tricky one for sure. It's really tricky, but I think I'm gonna have to kind of be in the middle here, as much as I don't want to be. But I think, oftentimes it kind of matters if where you are and how the drivers around you are reacting to yellow flags and whatnot. There's been fields that I've been in where everybody's lifting, putting their hand up, being super respectful, riding the outside line if someone's on a curb, staying away from. That's awesome. That's how it should be. That's how yellow flags should be treated. But then, there's other environments, like, for example, when I was at Rock Vegas, you see a yellow flag, you pretty much are like, cool, I'm going to look for an incident. If it's not in my way, I'm just going to keep driving. Because if you lift there, you're just getting blown by about like 10 people. So it just totally depends by like where you are. So I wasn't there. I'm not sure how big the field was. I don't know what kind of event it was. But yeah, it's really tricky to say, does that qualify as passing under yellow? Or is that, oh, I just got a run from yellow and passed him outside of it? Like, it's tricky for sure.
It's tricky. Go ahead, Jason.
I have nothing to add to what they just said, with the exception of it starts at the top.
Yeah.
It starts with the organization. It starts with the crew.
Now, go ahead.
That's where it starts. You go to different races, and racers are going to adjust their strategies depending on how rules are called or anything else. To me, when it's a yellow flag, there needs to be a yield. There should be a rule that we need to physically see your hand, and we need to physically see you yield. And in the type of karting that we do, we're going to pull your GPS. We'll just look at the accelerometer. Did you yield? If it needs to go to that. But there's a reason we have corner workers. There's a reason we have yellow flags. It's for the safety of the staff and the racers. So it needs to be respected. And again, I have nothing to add to what Jameson said, because he's 100% right. You go to some tracks and if I don't acknowledge the staff, if I don't do certain things, I will be penalized. And he's 100% right. You go to other associations or tracks or whatever, and it's like, why have a yellow flag? Like, why bother?
Yeah. No, and that's that. I'm 100% on board with you, man. Like, and I was gonna lead me to my next point, but we're running kind of long here. How do we change that? How do we change that mentality moving forward? But I mean, I'll give you guys some time to think about that, and maybe some of our guests, and we'll have you guys back on and we'll talk about it. But I mean, I think for me, that's the big thing. And to echo what you guys said, is it's exactly that. Like, I think as sanctioning bodies and even as racers, I think we all kind of got to get on the same page that yellow flags are being displayed for a reason, right? Red flags nowadays are more common than they were, say, 5 years ago, right? And that's not because of something in the go-karts are changing or we're any wider. We had plastic bumpers 5 years ago, guys, and we did not have as many red flags at races as we do now. That's what I'm getting at. Okay, so I think a lot of it is that mentality. And again, this is just my rant. And it's like you said, Jameson, like, There are some races you go to and you see the yellow flag and you put your hand up and you crack the throttle and you acknowledge it. But there are some series when you don't. You're just like, I'm going to stay wooded and I'm just going to, like you said, I'm going to look up. I'm going to see if there's anything in my direct line of sight and hope for the best that on these blind corners there's not.
I would be 100% for a strong policy. Is like if you come to a yellow flag incident and you create more carnage, you're done for the weekend.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting at. Is if there's a go-kart wiped out in the barrier, say we've seen these videos from Supernats, and you just come through these blind S's full wood, and there's clearly waving yellow flags, and then you clip his tire and you flip again and you flip into pit exit. Well, you know what, buddy? Like, you're done for the weekend. Like, yeah. Like, there has to be some sort of repercussion for it. And I mean, that's just my opinion, because I think we're all in agreement that it's not right? None of us agree that that's the correct thing to do, but unfortunately, it's how you have to race now, and it's how you have to be.
Well, but the yellow is there for when the yellow is displayed, you have to be able to safely navigate without adding to the problem.
Yeah. No,
right. So I am going to bring up Mike's comment. If it was a single flag, but in this case, there were two flags creating a zone where it happened. In that case, I would reference the rule where it says if the pass is initiated approaching a yellow flag, the attacking driver must yield and not complete the pass. That is in the rule book, reading it directly out of there. Unfortunately, I didn't see it, so I can't say that that's the argument I would have made. But if I would have seen it in that capacity, I guess then that's where I would have gone. Is there anything you want to add before we close out? I'm going to go through the comments again, but
shout outs.
Yeah, let me see. So we got Cravino. Jackson wants to come on to Norcal Mondays. Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's not Cravenho, it's Cravino.
Cravino.
I knew that because that's my homie from Prairie City. You didn't know that.
I didn't know.
We'll definitely get Jackson on. We'll get Hank back too. They're both some
we got our friend. We might be doing a transition from Karts to Cars show because our boy Ridgely Welsh is also talking about wanting to come on and do that. And maybe we can I'll see if we can reach out to Scotty H and Jaden Conray, and maybe that'll be a panel show that we can do.
And touching on what we talked about earlier, Jameson, like if you start doing some car stuff, I'd love to hear your feedback too, and just how you transition it to the cars and whatnot, and how it applies. Just
one thing I would like to add is actually this Thursday I'm taking my car out on Thunder Hill and getting the
let's go.
Excited.
I'm also going out this weekend to go to Thunder Hill.
Yes.
Yeah, there's going to be a few of them at Thunder Hill. Ridgely, put it in the comments if you're going to be at Thunder Hill too with the squad. But we got He's siding with Hank on this. We see your comments. What do you want us to post? All right, shout outs. Let's go around. Everybody can shout out their team, where you're going to be racing next, and we'll get you guys all back on for maybe put it in the comments if you want to transition from Karts to Cars show. So
I don't want to transition. I'm pretty happy with myself.
All right, Jason. Then you can talk about where you're going to, or what you ate at Sonoma. Okay, but you'll go last. All right, here we go. Starting with Hank Webster. Go ahead, give us your shout outs. Where are you going to be racing next?
I'm going to be at Thunder Hill this weekend, and then the weekend after, I'm going to be racing at Prairie City Kart Racing Association.
There you go.
All right. And shout outs. Who's your team? Who's your who you're running with this year? Stuff like that. If you want to thank anyone.
Mom, Dad.
Yeah, thank you to my parents.
Miranda, VLR.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, VLR as well. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Hank, and hanging out. You can stay on as we close. Jameson, go ahead and give us your shout outs. Good night. Shout outs and where are you gonna be racing next?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, shout out GFC Karting. They're the place to be if you're getting into karting, especially two-stroke or 100cc or maybe mini. So 100%. Talk to them. Try to get a weekend with them if you can. Second of all, probably my mechanic this weekend, Grant. He did a great job. Kart was on rails all weekend. And then as far as my sponsors, I'd like to thank GoPro, OGO Power Sports, and Bordonia Racing Engines for getting all my equipment and keeping me on the racetrack.
Right on.
Oh, and then next place I'll be racing is Rock Sonoma and Challenge of the Americas at Sonoma. So a lot of Sonoma stuff coming up.
All right. Dang, Bordonia is like an old friend of ours too, so that's tight.
He's pretty awesome.
He is. Dang, that is so. That's like a throwback right there for a second. Okay, Jason, where are you gonna be at? Where are you gonna? What did you eat at Sonoma over the weekend, and where are you gonna be at next?
I have to look at the calendar to see where I'm going. For sure, Rock Sonoma for the next race. I could bring that up real quick so I can give a date.
You gonna come make your margaritas out at Challenge for the night, and we'll do like a Norcal Karters live thing.
The next
to do a Norcal what?
Let's do a Norcal Karters live thing at Challenge, and you can make your margaritas, and you can put your little extra kart parts banner up, and we'll have a little live episode. Me and you, we can walk around the pits.
You know, I did feel a little bit bad. Let's see, April 25th to the 27th at Sonoma. I have to look at my calendar on that weekend. I'm not going to say no. I did feel bad, though, because I did go to Idaho a couple of weeks ago, and I was trying to stop by Andy's place, but my plans just got hijacked.
So you went to Idaho and you didn't see Andy? How rude.
Oh, I mean, I was probably – it gets worse. I was probably 12 minutes from his house, so it wasn't even
my
that far out.
goodness.
It was so close, he was telling me the restaurants I should go to. But I was en route, and then we got diverted with the end of the direction. It's like, oh, well. It gives me an excuse to go back up there. I went to a winery, and around the corner from the winery, I stopped by one of the kart tracks. And I didn't realize the kart tracks were like the two on the north end of the valley are like, I don't know, 15 minutes apart from each other.
Yeah.
So that was
Which
cool.
one did you go to?
I'm going to say Snake River, but I don't know.
Oh.
It was closed, and they didn't have a sign out there.
Oh, I was going to say, because our homies at Kart Idaho, we could have hooked you up with that, but
I can look it up on the map, but
yeah. So okay, Josh, go ahead.
you wanted
Shout
to
outs. Where are you gonna be next?
But you said you wanted.
I will be hopefully in Dixon this weekend, brigging a little bit. That's kind of the plan, low key. Not confirmed yet. It's all tentative. Norcal Karters will be out there filming and doing stuff at the Gold Rush race at Dixon. Want to give a shout out to the people that helped me race. Obviously, Norcal Karters, my wife, Prairie City Karting, bringing go-karts, Gary Haney. Special shout out to everybody at Santa Maria and the Dean family. Mike Dean, Lindsay, Michael, everybody at MD3, Pump Karts. Thank you. I had such a fun time coming and driving the go-kart this weekend. I look forward to doing it again, and hopefully I'll be back out there. I'll see you all in Challenge. If I don't see you in Dixon this week, I will see all of you at Challenge of the Americas at the end of the month. So look for me on the ladder. Don't hit me on the ladder, but look for me on the ladder.
Wave it yellow so that way they know to look out for it.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Noted.
Me, and I'm like, and I better not see you at Challenge because I'm going to be back in the penalties spot. So
I do want to shout out Jameson and Hank for coming on, though. Thank you guys. You guys were awesome. I valued your guys' input as always. You two are stars, dude. Thank you.
Of course.
Hey, does anyone want to get creative and get some ideas?
Anytime. Thank you guys.
On YouTube.
all right, guys. So as we close out, I do want to remind everybody it's not peer pressure, but it's time to register for Challenge of the Americas at Sonoma. Go ahead and, hey, you better not be talking about VLRs in the comments is all I'm saying, so watch it. But Challenge of the Americas registration is now open. You can go to raceselect/CODA 2025 or challengekarting.com and do that because we will be there and we are calling you out. So, yes, reminder, we have Colby Dubato Memorial Race is going to be happening again this August at with CCKRA, and we are confirmed to give out the $5,000 prize in Senior 206, and we are going to be doing another senior cash prize as well. I don't know the total of it now, but we are going to be doing prizes for both senior and for sure the $5,000 in 206. So go ahead and follow CCKRA on Facebook, Instagram, and cckra.com for more info about the Colby Dubato Memorial Race to celebrate Colby's birthday again this year in August. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a great night. I am going to close out with my tagline being, if you want to come on my show, let's do it. And I'm going to let Jason, since he's here with all his Jason Berry fans, I'm going to let him close out with his tagline being,
if we all get one person into the sport, we'll double by next year.
all right, guys.
Shock
See
out.
ya.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Guys.